welcome back. Welcome back to the Extraordinary Drummer Show. As you know, I'm your host, Cheron Moore. I was just telling my guests, I'm trying not to get nervous on this one because something in the back of my mind is saying, look at that wall and think of his body at work and all that stuff. And your hands start doing like this, you know? My guest today is just absolutely amazing. There's really no words to speak of the body of work he's had. I'm going to give you some other titles here that might surprise you. He's a composer, he's a producer, a vocalist. You know him for the many great studio sessions that he's done, but he's also a surfer. I put that in there. He's a surfer. You know him from the legendary group Chicago. Will you help me welcome my guest today, Trish Imboden? Hey, Trish.
Hey, how you doing, Cheron?
Well, thank you, brother. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. Thanks, happy to be here.
At the age of 5, you saw this parade and it blew your mind. Tell me about it.
Well, my dad, actually, rest his soul, had taken me to this 4th of July parade, I think it was. And man, this drum section went by and just absolutely, I'd never experienced anything in my life like what I felt at that moment. And I still remember it to this day vividly. And man, my heart was in my throat. I was just like, what's this? And I was so moved. I was like crying and laughing at the same time, you know, and I really did know then that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah. Tell me about you playing trumpet. How did that come about?
Well, it came about because I knew I wanted to be a drummer, but everybody else wanted to be a drummer too. So in the junior high school band, there was no room in the drum section. So I went, well, okay, I guess I'll play trumpet then, you know? And so but the band leader was hip. He knew that I was really a drummer at heart, and I was friends with all the drummers, you know, in the school band. And so when there was an opening, he let me slide over to the drums.
Tell me, when did you get your first drum kit, your first drum set?
Well, my folks reluctantly acquiesced to getting me a drum set, but only after having spent a lot of time with my snare drum and a practice pad before that, you know. So I must have been about 12, I think, when I got my first drum set, but I had a snare drum before that. And my folks were pretty supportive, you know. They knew how much I loved it, you know, so they encouraged me.
What kind of kit was it?
Oh man, my first drum set was it was funky, man. It was a set of Pearl, but back when Pearl was not happening, they were like a Japanese company that wasn't so good. The set I got was a 3-piece set. It had a bass drum, a tom-tom, one cymbal, not even a hi-hat, and a snare.
Take me to Newport Harbor High School. What was the scene?
Okay, well,
I did some homework, you see, right?
Boy, you've done your homework, man. Well, my folks had moved from. I kind of had grown up around the beach. That's how the surfing thing enters into my life. But my dad was a lifeguard and all that. But my folks moved to Newport from Sunset Beach in Southern California. And so it changed school districts. And Newport, you know, it was, I guess, my junior year in high school. So I didn't really know anybody in Newport, maybe a few surfer friends of mine that I bumped into. So I was kind of reestablishing myself, you know, amongst musicians as well there. And there was some real talented players, and I got in a band, man, you know, we were playing around doing local concerts and stuff, you know, small time, little things.
Being at Newport Harbor High School, you played with the Other Half band?
Actually,
what was that like?
That was before.
That was before high school?
No, before I moved to Newport.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, but God, you've really done your homework. I'm blown away, Cheron. uh, yeah, I was in a band called The Other Half, and and we played like the teenage fair up in Hollywood and that, which was big time for us because we were local Orange County guys doing high school dances at Marina High School and that and so playing for at the teenage fair was a big deal, and we were sponsored by Vox. We played at the Vox booth, Vox amplifiers, and that was during that whole period when the British invasion was happening. So that was a big deal.
Tell me about the Honk rock band.
Oh, okay. Honk. Honk was a band that after my family had moved to Newport Beach, I graduated from high school there. I was asked to join this band with these great older musicians, a couple of older guys that I used to watch on TV. Actually, one of them played in the Cindermen, it was called, which was a big band, of that time in that area. And they had a couple of songs on the radio on KFWB on AM radio back then, And I used to watch them on the TV shows like 9th Street West and all. So anyway, we're blown away that they would ask me, they were forming a new band out of this one that was breaking up to join. And they already had a record deal, right? So I'm going, my folks want me to go to college, but I'm going record deal, college record deal, okay, record deal. So so that's what I ended up doing.
How did you meet Kenny Loggins?
Well, Honk, back to Honk, we were asked to open for Loggins of Messina, which proved prophetic. We also opened for Chicago, which also proved to be prophetic. I went and auditioned to be Kenny Loggins' drummer. And I really didn't think I'd get the gig. There was about 150 drummers and a lot of my heroes that were auditioning at the same time. But man, I got the gig. They kept calling me back. And I got a phone call from Kenny Loggins. He said, "You want to join a rock and roll band?" Are you kidding me? Of course. So I was a fan, I was already a fan. And yeah.
How did the record we spoke of earlier, how did This Is It come about?
Oh, okay. Well, that tune was the last song and was written kind of as an afterthought. It was the last song we recorded for the album called Keep the Fire. And Kenny and Michael McDonald had already written together before. In fact, the first song they ever wrote together was What a Fool Believes, which was a #1 song everywhere and won a Grammy for the Doobie Brothers and Michael McDonald. So the second song that they wrote together was This Is It, right? So what a batting average those two had. I mean, and that song also won a Grammy for Best Male Vocal, I think, that year for Kenny's vocal.
You worked with Al Jarreau, huh?
Yeah, I was with Al for about 4 years, man. Oh, what an experience too. Man, that man was maybe one of the most tapped in, to the thing, man. I mean, that creative source, man, of any artist I've ever been with. I mean, every night, Cheron, there were moments where I'd almost just want to stop playing and just listen. And I couldn't believe what I was hearing out of that guy. I mean, he was so gifted, my God. And one of the finest people I've ever known in my life. I love that man so much. He was a true humanitarian.
Come on, I know you can help us out.
1990, as you said, you joined Chicago. What was it like? Were you a little nervous coming in?
Actually, man, it just came out of the blue. It was perfect timing, actually, because I'd just finished with Jarreau and with Kenny, and it was the first summer in 1990 that didn't have a tour lined up. And so I got a call from Bill Champlin, and he said, "Hey, man, how'd you like to play with the band?" And I went, "What? Yeah, hell yeah." So, because who didn't love Chicago, you know? And that started almost 30 years of my association with that band. 28 years I was with them.
In 2018, you resigned from Chicago. Why?
Well, I tell you, Cheron, I have been on the road for so many years, man. And Chicago, what had at the point that I left, at least for the past almost 10 years, was doing between 8 to 10 months out of every year on the road, right? That's 2 months at home sometimes out of the whole year. And I had met and married, I finally got it right, my current wife. And this is number 4, bro. I've been married 4 times. And I did not want this one to go the way all my other marriages had, which, you know, I mean, to bless all of them, and we all tried in those previous marriages, but they just were to the wrong person and complicated by being gone all the time. You know, that just, I mean, that drives away. I mean, if you're not there, you're not there, you know, and no matter how much you try to keep the communication open, and you can't see them as much as you want, you can't, you know, it's not practice. So that was the thing. That was it. I want to be with my wife. I want to be home.
Tell me, when we talk about drum technique, I notice a few things in your playing. On your left hand, you've got it closed. You've got it. It's not like this. Can you see it? It's not like it's almost turned like, yeah, what's going on?
Yeah. Well, you know, they talk about, and I didn't learn this until later, but there's two different grips, right? French grip, which is kind of more like this.
Right.
And then German, which is like that. But I didn't know that at the time. I just started picked up the drumsticks and started playing, really. And, you know, as I said, in junior high school band, my band director didn't know how to hold the sticks properly. I mean, you know, I had the classic, you know, traditional grip, but he didn't, beyond that, he didn't know what to tell me because he wasn't a drummer. So I'm, you know, like I say, self-taught. So I developed all those bad habits that gave me carpal tunnel that you know about all too well too. So later on, I started studying. In fact, not too long ago, with a couple years ago, with a guy Bruce Becker.
Patricia, let's talk a little bit about endorsements. Okay. What you're playing, who you're playing, what sticks, what heads, what drums, cymbals, so forth.
Okay. Well, I've been with DW Drums now probably about 30, almost 35 years, and I absolutely love that company. I've been with Peisty now, and Remo heads, man, Remo. I remember seeing that as a kid. You know, that logo. I have to mention Vic Firth sticks, Vic Firth, and also that company, the electronic drum company, F Note. That's EF and then Note, man, because they are making something that is revolutionary as far as I'm concerned. The feel of these things and the response, man, just incredible. And the sound, it's just amazing.
Trish, we do something on the show that I call Word of Advice, where we ask the drummers, where we ask the guests if they will leave a parting word of advice for the up-and-coming drummers, for the drummers that are trying to get traction in this game, trying to get to the next level. even some of the other guys that are at the next level, would you leave them a word of advice?
Well, I've always told when I've had a student, and there have been many because I've traveled too much to really feel like I should take on students. But when asked by a student that very thing, a word of advice for their career, whatever, I've always said, say yes to everything, no matter what. I mean, whatever gig is offered you, say yes, because you never know who you might meet. First of all, at the very least, you're going to have more experience from having said yes and having done the gig, and you also never know who might be listening. You know, and in my experience, that really came into play in my life and gratefully my success, because somebody heard me or heard my name, or somebody that had worked with me in, some casual, even somewhere, was asked, hey, can you recommend somebody for this tour or this session or whatever, or you heard anybody that you'd recommend? I've been referred before that way. So say yes.
I can see in the journey that you're on how the different hangs linked up to something else. Being with Honk and then led to this, and the studio led to that, and so forth.
Uh-huh.
Say yes to everything.
Yeah.
Great title too for something. Love it. Thank you so much for that.
Oh, you bet.
Let me ask you, what do you think of today's drummers blowing and blazing all over the kit and throwing grooving out the window and all that stuff? somebody said, yeah, I won't say the drummer's name, but he said, Cheron, they're playing drums, not music.
Yeah, that's well spoken. And I have to say that I much rather listen to Al Jackson laying it down than the most radical, like fast gospel chops guy. I mean, it's spectacular what they're doing. It's just off the hook good. I mean, there's no denying it. It's impossible, but it becomes like an athletic event. It's not like whoever it was that said that they're playing drums, not music. To me, the first function of the drum, is to groove. I mean, that's the way that's what speaks to me anyway. I mean, to each their own. But I'd much rather hear somebody that can lay it down, man, and then when it's time, then when it's time to spray, go ahead and spray.
To spray.
Yeah.
Put your mark on the tree so the other, I will say.
Exactly. Right.
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 So, Trish, I just throw a couple more at you here.
Okay.
What's it like when you walk through NAMM and everybody's just all over you, man?
Oh man, it's very flattering, first of all, and I still pinch myself that I ever got recognized, man, as in the world of drumming. I'm so flattered by it, but it can be frustrating because I like to talk to people, and it's kind of hard, to talk to somebody while you're being pulled that direction, and then there's somebody else pulling you this direction. But I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'm so flattered that I got to do what I love my whole life, and I've managed to reach people with something that I was a part of, and speak to them in their hearts, man. That's a privilege, man, and I'm so grateful for that. It
Can you
feels
imagine
good.
when you walk through NAMM, especially if you were another drummer, another famous drummer such as yourself, I can see the company going, I mean, not even the A&R, like the president just leaves a meeting and comes over.
Oh shoot! Well, it's happened on occasion, but yeah, man, it's not like I'm not one of those guys though that everybody's like, there goes, somebody, there goes Vinny. you know, so it's not quite as hectic for me as I think it might be for them.
It's like the more I talk to you, the more I keep writing. And I'm trying to close us up, but I keep just thinking of things going, don't ask them that, but you got to ask them that.
No, it's fine. It's fine, man.
I think I'm going to hold on to that question. I'm going to ask you this one. This is one of those I said I can't ask them. I would be embarrassed, but it'll be fun.
Okay.
Are you sure I can ask you this question?
I don't know. I don't know until you ask.
They used to say, you can ask. You can ask. What was the transition in the hair?
Oh, okay. Well, okay, first of all, I did actually used to have hair, right? But the thing is, going through the different eras, stylistically, my particular hairline was not exactly compatible with what was fashionable there at one point. So yeah, I had a little hair help, if I can say that. But then, I don't know whether you know this part. I was diagnosed with cancer, with lung cancer, 12 years ago, and yeah, actually 13 years ago now, and it was not early stage either. It was stage 3A. So I'm lucky to be here. Actually, I had a 15% chance of making it to 5 years, and I'm just celebrating my 12th year now, being 12 years cancer free. And boy, they're actually calling it a cure here at Scripps down here in San Diego. And man, I'm one of the very lucky ones. But needless to say, that's when I started embracing this new look. And I shave it, but yeah, most of it's gone the way of the dodo bird now, most of the hair.
I kind of owe you an apology here. I went into that kind of with a little bit of folly there, but to hear that testimony, I just know that, if I may say, the big guy upstairs has got his hand on you, man.
Oh man, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful, bro. Man.
Stage
Yeah.
3, man. Woo.
Yeah. And I still can't believe that, because there's no rhyme or reason to that, who gets to survive that and who doesn't. And, I had great doctors and great treatment, but there's still, there's just no guarantees at all, man, through that whole thing. And man, some of the most physically strong people I've ever known in my life, man, are just, don't escape that one, and so I'm particularly grateful, and not just to be alive, but then also I'm able to still play drums, man. I was still went right back on the road 6 months after treatment, and we were on the road with Earth, Wind and Fire at that point too. And I was like, I got to get back out there, man, because I know how much fun they're having. So, but I'll bet you that drumming and performing really played into my recovery and my survival ultimately too. I really believe that. And I'm able to surf still, so I am so very lucky, so fortunate, man.
What a journey, man. What a journey.
Yeah.
What a journey, man.
Yeah, I know, man. I've had quite a life, and I'm grateful for every bit of it, man. Even that part, because the cancer part, any survivors you talk to, it really, there's a gift in it, and the gift is, I thought I really appreciated life before, but man, it's so much sweeter so much sweeter being on the other side of cancer now. I don't take anything for granted anymore, you know. Well, I try not to. If I catch myself starting to slip, it's like, man, cut it out. You know how lucky you are, man. So, yeah, I am truly blessed, man. Yeah.
Trish, what do you want your legacy to be? How would you like your legacy to be told, to be said?
Hmm. I would hope that maybe I would be remembered as somebody that was fun to play music with. And I would hope, because it's something I've always aspired to or tried to aspire to, is that I I make the music feel good. If I can make the music feel good, then that's my first and foremost and job. You know, I've accomplished what I've wanted to do. So I would hope that I would be remembered as that.
Wow. Wow. Thank you.
Oh man, thank you, Cheron.
Let me say thank you so very much for being on the Extraordinary Drummer Show.
Oh man, thank you. I am so very honored to be a part of this. This is a great show, man, and you do a great thing, and you do all of us a great service by having this show. And I thank you. I thank you for making me a part.
I hope you had a good time.
I had a blast, man.
I kind of hope I mixed it up a little different than the standard interviews, you know?
You sure did, man. It was really fun, man. It's one of my favorite ones I've ever done, man. I'm telling you.
Oh, the check's in the mail, man. The check's in the mail. Hey, would you help us wave goodbye to all the fans?
Absolutely. Goodbye.
Yeah. Again, thank you so very much.